the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
1-2 the count to Murphy, and the pitch swung on and belted deep left field. How far is that bad boy going? Into the wind. Gone. Second home run of the day for Sean Murphy. Woohoo! 7-0 Atlanta.
A swing and a drive, deep right field. Down the line it goes. It is a fair ball. He hit it off the foul pole. How about that? Stephen Kwan with a towering drive off the foul pole and right.
Yeah, anytime you get hit by, 90, 94, 95 up and in like that, and especially on the hands where there's so many small bones and ligaments and stuff like that, you just never know what's going to happen or what it's going to be.
I might even be willing to go outside in Gresham and do a show out there.
I got to get out and hit some balls tomorrow morning.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
Well, a very big happy birthday to the Godbrother. I think he's going to join the show a little bit later today. I reached out to him and said, hey, you need to come on so we can celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, I think he turned 50 today, Chad.
Yeah, something like that. Are you older or is he older?
I'd rather not say. You have to make your own determination on that.
Which one is the younger brother? I'm going to say that you're the eldest and he's younger than you are.
So you're saying I look older than he does?
No, you both look old. I'm just saying I don't know which one is which. I think you told me once that you're the eldest, and then comes your brother. But the Godbrother is going to join us, so we'll get a chance to talk with him. I can't wait until 3:20. We're going to get into Major League Baseball. It's amazing that Rob Manfred, as dumb as he is, continues to make good decisions about the game. They're improving it.
Yeah, they're getting there. Slowly but surely, like baseball always operates.
But it sounds like they're going to bring technology into the game probably as soon as next year with the ABS system, which is going to be nice.
It is, yeah.
The big question will be, how many challenges do you get per game when you don't like a call? That's the question. And the numbers that are being floated around right now seem like total nonsense to me.
Not enough.
Two or three is not going to get it done for as bad as these guys are.
You need about 25.
It's like, come on, man, you suck. I want to see those guys bitter and just turn around and tap their head and go right to the system.
Yeah.
And within seconds, we'll know whether or not the ump was on it or not.
Yeah, just takes 2 or 3 seconds.
It's great. Now, do you think umps will like this? Will they not like it? Or they just want the call to be right and they don't want to be wrong? How do you see it going down?
Nobody likes to be wrong. They'll not like it.
So they don't like it, yeah.
I think that's why the challenges are limited. If you gave everybody 20 challenges, you'd realize they were wrong 18 out of 20 times.
That's
probably.
possible. Well, if they were better at their job, we wouldn't be pushing to get the ABS system in the game.
That's
period,
right.
Right?
Yes.
Be better, do better, and we wouldn't have to bring technology into the game. So we'll get to that coming up at 3:20. Michael Schacker's a big fan of Brian Noah, as we are, so I got Noah slotted in for 5:20. And we have a slew of things to give away on the program today. And when I mean a slew, I mean a slew. We have 2 4-packs for the Portland Thorns to give away on the show today. We also have more 4-packs for the Hankook Portland E-Pre, which is going down on June 30th. And we also have a 4-pack for the Hillsboro Hops. So we got a lot of stuff to give away. We're going to do that for you today on the show.
Rip City Liquidators, Chad.
That's right, man. We got everything you could possibly need. We're a one-stop shop. You come here, and we provide. All right, J.J. Redick's been hired by the Lakers. There's been no word that I've seen out in regards to how much money he's getting. It's a 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
My guess would be 4 years at about 20 based on what we know about the Lakers. So I'm going to guess around 5 or just over $5 million per year.
Yeah, he wants the job badly. It's his first coaching job, so they're able to lowball him a little bit. And that, in today's world, that's kind of almost a lowball offer, really.
All right, J.J. Redick, head coach of the Lakers. Let's take LeBron and Bronny and that whole situation away for just a moment. What are going to be some of the key things that J.J. Redick is going to have to focus on right now as he takes over the job and gets ready for his first season as an NBA head coach?
Well, Chad, I think the first thing, obviously, is putting together his coaching staff, and that's going to be a big deal for a first-year coach. You really have to have help when you haven't done this before, and most people would recommend that a first-year guy get a former head coach on his staff, and that's what happened with Chauncey Billups here in Portland, and I think it's a big help. You've got to have that guy who can integrate you into all the little things that go into coaching in this league.
All the things that you don't even think about.
Yeah, including media stuff. There's all kinds of media stuff you have to do.
So you got to deal with the media, obviously time management, timeouts, how to do this, how to do that, how to communicate with the referees, all the little details that you need to know. That's why you needed like a Scotty Brooks sitting next to you on the bench, a guy who's got the experience, who's been there and done that, to kind of guide you through. And then you would think that a smart guy like J.J. Redick with time and experience would be able to pick up and understand that and be able to start to implement that himself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, too, how many of these assistant coaches he'll be allowed to hire himself, and then how many the team is going to hire for him, because that happens. That does happen. Favors have to be repaid along the way from something that happened in the past, and agents have to be satisfied because they're supplying players as well as assistant coaches. So you have all these little things that get in the way of a coach hiring the guys he wants. And to be frank, a lot of times the coaches just want to hire their buddies instead of the right assistant, and that's when the franchise has to step in and say, "Nah, not this time. Wait till later."
So you're looking for at least a former head coach, a lot of experience. That would be your lead assistant that can sit next to JJ and make sure he understands what's going on.
That was Terry Stott's supposed role in Milwaukee. And that, of course, didn't go well because he couldn't get along with the head coach. And the head coach couldn't get along with him.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more like the head coach couldn't get along with him.
Yeah.
All right, so we know that Redick is a smart guy, and I've enjoyed his work as an analyst, also with his podcast, sharing his thoughts on basketball. He's very heavily analytics-based, like a lot of the younger coaches are. What do you know about guys who are analytic-based, and what are some of the challenges about being that type of guy?
Well, sometimes, Chad, it doesn't fly real well with your players because players are brought up in a different system, and they're not analytical necessarily.
Yeah.
A lot of them just know what they see about the game and don't really go inside the numbers. And that's oftentimes a different knowledge base than what players understand. So you have to be really careful when explaining what you're doing based on analytics to make it sound real to the players. That's a really important thing. And you got to have your message, and you got to have assurances that your assistant coaches are on the same page with you because they have to explain it too. They have to be your mouthpiece a lot, because you're not always the one addressing the players. The assistant coaches have a lot to do with that, just like they do in football. It's the same thing. They have more contact with the assistants than they do the head man.
All right. What do you think will be the biggest challenge for JJ in his first year as head coach of the Lakers?
Well, I think, just the game ops will be different, because it's one thing when you're sitting there on the sidelines saying, yeah, good time to call timeout, or why don't they put this guy in instead of this guy, or is it time to change defenses, or there's all these little decisions you have to make. And that's why many people, if they're talking to coaches before the season, say, okay, get together with your staff way early in the summer and then take all those pressurized decisions. Are we going to foul with a 3-point lead or a 2-point lead? What are we going to do here and there late in games? So you've already made those decisions, and you know how you're going to go, and you don't have to stand there like a big dummy when that situation expresses itself. You have those things. Do you like to play zone late in games? Do you like to even use zone? All the things that you might do late in a game. You want to platoon in the last minute. What do you want to do? So those have to be made before the season even starts.
How do you think you should address the rest of the players on the roster after LeBron and AD in terms of his role as head coach, being a podcast partner with LeBron, taking over the job? Is there anything he needs to say or communicate to where everyone will know that, hey, I'm here for the right reasons, we're on the same page, and this is what we're trying to do? How do you go about that?
Well, Chad, I happen to think that, you probably better let the other players know that you're going to treat them the same way you're treating LeBron, and that you're going to treat LeBron the same way you treat them. They cannot believe that he's got favored nation status because this guy did a podcast with him. And, oh, by the way, LeBron kind of runs the franchise anyway. So that's a real tender situation, I'll say, fragile situation with whoever's becoming the coach. I think there's always that specter of LeBron, how much say he's going to have in who plays, what kind of style you play, who's getting shots. Everything you do strategy-wise seems like it sometimes runs through LeBron.
Doesn't every head coach face this type of issue with their star players? I think you were telling me the other day that even Dr. Jack had some issue because he gave preferential treatment to Walton and Maurice Lucas.
Yeah, other players spoke about that at times, yes. But
what's the key then? Because you know that LeBron's not going to be treated like every other player to a certain degree because he's LeBron. Does it just mean that you coach him the same way? Like, what does that mean to treat him like everyone else to where it would be acceptable to the other guys?
Well, you have to show it. Not to, just telling your players something isn't good enough. And here's what I did coaching my son, just in kids baseball and basketball. Okay, you go to the kid and you say, "Look, these guys think that I'm going to be easier on you because you're my son. So you're going to hear from me today. I'm going to be all over you. Just know I'm doing this just to show them that they're the same as you." Okay, and I would do that. And I've seen college coaches coaching their own sons do the same thing. They have to prove that, yeah, I'll get on my own son when he makes mistakes just like I get on you. I think it would be wise to pull something like that with LeBron.
Do you think, so you approach LeBron and say, hey.
Yeah, look out. Today I'm coming after you.
Yeah. You just let it be known, like, hey, I'm gonna get on you a little bit.
Right.
Just
and I think you tell him that before the season, Chad, really is like, look, when I got to get on you, I'm going to get on you. That's just the way it's got to be.
But don't you think most stars are receptive to that? Like if the coach comes to them ahead of time and says, look, I need to get on you today, so it's nothing personal. I just have to do it because we need the other guys to buy in as well.
I think the smart superstars welcome that because they don't want the other players thinking they're teacher's pet.
Yeah.
They don't want that either. So any chance to prove that they're not, that's good stuff, I think.
All right, J.J. Redick, head coach of the Lakers. It was beautiful this morning. It's beautiful right now. The heat is coming in. How much do you love that?
I love it. I just wish I wasn't sitting in here with my jacket on because it's freezing in here. Folks, the warmer it gets outside, the colder it gets in our studio.
They're never going to figure out the thermostat at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than showing up at the golf course and teeing off in the wee hours of the morning when it's 60-plus degrees already.
Doesn't get much
The body
better
feels good, man. Yeah. It feels real good.
And you're hitting the ball good today, I bet.
Oh, it was good.
You had a good round, right?
I did, yeah. It was good. And I can't wait till tomorrow and then into the weekend, man. It's a golf heaven right now. I just can't get enough. The weather is perfect. I've been waiting for this weather right now that we're having today all year long. It's spectacular. And by the way, little side note, delayed Father's Day dinner tonight. Going to be heading down to 13 Coins on the water in Vancouver.
Come on now.
Anytime someone says, hey, you want to go to 13 Coins and you know you're not paying? Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I can do that.
Sure. Yeah.
What time do you want me there?
That's like you inviting me to El Gaucho. Sure, Chad. I'd be happy to accompany you.
I'm in. All right.
One other added thing before I go. You had a good round. Nancy shot 86 today with a triple on 18. That's a pretty good round for Nancy.
18 again. The devil hole.
Terrible hole, yeah. Should be a par 5. It's par 4.
Every time I see that tee box, I just want to give it a double barrel. That's a good one. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah, it is.
And the two sand traps that are right there in the entryway into the fairway that leads down towards the green. Brutal.
It's a very small door to the green there, yes.
All right, we'll come back, and when we do, we got to dive into some Major League Baseball. They're about to adopt the ABS system, and I think it's a good idea, but there are things to discuss with particulars. We'll get into that next. That's Dwight. I'm Chad. Brian Noel, Fox Sports Radio, coming up at 5:20. Boy, how about my Denver Broncos today adding a bright mind to their staff? David Shaw, former head coach at Stanford, has been added to the Broncos front office as an advisor.
Yeah, you and I have both had occasion to talk with David Shaw, and we're both extremely impressed with him. He's a very, very smart guy, and affable and calm, and I think he's a little unlike your average football coach.
Yeah, he's one of the few guys that I think Sean Payton, if they sit down in a room together and start talking, Payton respects him because his intellect and football knowledge equals that of Sean Payton. He's a super bright guy. One of my favorite things that he's ever discussed and this is when I was down in San Francisco, he came on the show and we asked him, this is when he had Christian McCaffrey at running back. And of course, McCaffrey was a receiver. He was a runner. They used him on special teams. And we asked him about, what do you do when you have a player like McCaffrey week in and week out when you're preparing for a game to make sure that you don't forget about him and you find different ways to get him the ball because he's such a dynamic player? And that's when he broke down the whole setup with he and his coaching staff. Every week leading up to a football game, they had what they called the McCaffrey Project, where he and the assistant coaches would get into one room and they would sit down and look at their opponent and go over the game plan to find different ways to get McCaffrey involved in the game because they knew the more McCaffrey touched the football, the better it was going to be for the team.
Yeah.
So they actually took time as a staff to pour over film, the opponent, different formations and things they could do to get him the football. And I thought, that's genius.
Yeah.
It's like we have a Rolls Royce on our football team. Let's make sure that we get him the football because a lot of times what happens, depending on your script or your game plan. In fact, I heard Tom Brady talking about this yesterday where, when he had Randy Moss, who was a phenomenal wide receiver, the best receiver he played with, he said what they would do with the Patriots is that they would always script plays to begin the game, but they would make sure within that script that all of their big playmakers, whether it's Randy Moss or it was this guy or that guy or Gronk, that they made sure to get those guys the ball early in the game to get them into a rhythm and have them get a good feel. And he said when you have a big-time wide receiver who's, running 25 yards off the line of scrimmage, having to sprint back to the huddle, is having to block and do all these different things, you don't want them to wait 2.5, 3 quarters to get the football in their hands to see what they can do. So you have to think about what you're doing with your play calling to make sure your best players get the ball. So David Shaw's a genius. So, and he's real tight with Condoleezza Rice, who's on the Broncos Board of Governors. So it's nice when you have a lot of smart people who know a lot of smart people, and then you can go out with those connections and start bringing them in-house. I like it.
Yeah, you can't have enough smart people in your front office, I'll tell you that.
No, especially in football where, when think about football, how many great head coaches are there in the NFL? It's not a huge number or assistants or different things. You want to get as many bright minds as you can that might have the knowledge that can help you win a game because the parity is so real and the games are so close that any slight edge you can have to get over the hump, you got to jump on it. That's why I applaud teams that spare no expense when it comes to adding an assistant here or a specialist there, or what we were talking about the other day in the NBA with the teams that spend a bunch of money on the shot doctors.
Shooting coaches, yeah.
Well, why? You're worth billions of dollars. You're going to spare a couple of pennies here and there instead of having the best possible staff to make sure your players are in a position to win.
And how much better would your team be if you actually shot the ball better?
Exactly.
Because it's all about, what is it? It's a make or miss league.
Yeah.
How about making a few more? That would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's talk a little baseball, Godfathers. So I want you to break this down for us because the ABS system. First, what does that stand for? What is the ABS system? If someone rolled up on you and said, yo, Godfather, what's this ABS? What's that all about?
Automatic ball and strike.
Automatic ball and strike.
In other words, the robots, the machines that tell you if the pitch is a ball or a strike.
All right, this is beautiful. And right now, they're using it in the minors, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not as a full ABS system, but they're using it, the ABS, with a challenge where if you don't like the call, you can challenge it. They go straight to the ABS and tell you whether or not it was a ball or a strike.
Here's the deal. They were using it in AA, and one AA league was using it with the challenge system. The other was using it to call all of the balls and strikes. Or I think better yet, it was used one way during the week and the other way during the weekend. So they had a chance to evaluate both ways of doing it. Now they've moved the system up to AAA baseball, one step away from the big leagues. They're going to do it in AAA the rest of the summer. So, and they're only doing it with a challenge system, which indicates to most observers that they're going to put the other system away. They're not going to have it call every pitch. They're just going to use the challenge system, which is fine, I guess. But the quibble will be, now in the minor leagues, the International League is using 2 challenges. The Pacific Coast League is using 3.
Per player?
No, for the game.
3 challenges for a game?
Yeah, it's just like their normal replay system. Very few challenges in every sport. Look at the NBA.
Okay.
They hardly get any challenges.
Okay. What does tennis do? How many times can you go to the Hawkeye?
Every time you want. Players are limited to how many calls they can challenge. But see, they don't even go to them anymore. The referees are calling them off the Hawkeye. So they don't a lot of these tournaments, they don't even have lines people anymore. They don't have people calling the lines. They just trust Hawkeye to call them all.
Okay. Well, before we get to the number of challenges, and by the way, 3, 2, it's not enough. It's absurd to even try and implement a system with so few challenges. For a 9-inning game,
yeah,
where you have a combined, 250 pitches thrown?
Yeah, that's probably about right, Jack.
And you get a total of 6 challenges? That's a bunch of bull crap because these guys aren't good at their job. They're suck.
They're missing 6 per inning, right?
Well, it's no joke, man. It's the same thing as the NBA officials. It's like the reason why we need technology is because these guys miss a lot of calls.
Yeah.
And if you watch any MLB game, what's beautiful about television is they have the wonderful little square around right behind home plate so you know whether or not it's a ball or a strike. But why do you think the majority, when it comes to players, fans, everyone involved in the game, why do they support a partial ABS system with the challenges instead of just going full robot? Why is that?
I got to talk to people to find that out. I don't understand it. And as far as like the fans, I don't know why we're asking fans nobody asked the fans if they wanted bigger bases out there or if they wanted to limit 3 pickoff tries at first base. Those things are having a big influence on the game right now. Nobody asked the fans or cared what the fans wanted. The ghost runner at second base in extra innings. I don't remember anybody polling the fans about that.
But wasn't that designed to speed up the game, which was an issue with fans?
Those are all speed-up rules, although the bigger base and the restriction is to bring more running into the – people want to see more stolen bases, apparently.
Okay. Well, the heart of the fan was in mind when they made those rule changes.
Yeah.
The reason why the fans should at least have some input, at least in my mind – I know a lot of people like to poo-poo fans sometimes, but they're the ones spending all the money. We're the ones who are asked to pay $449 for a Sunday NFL ticket. We're the ones who are spending, $10 on a beer and $5 on a hot dog. We're the ones dealing with your ridiculous parking prices and the traffic and all the nonsense.
I'm just saying we ignore the fans on 90% of the decisions being made right now with rules. Why do we care what they think about this one? And that's my point. And really, I have a feeling they don't want to have all of them decided by machine because they want to be able to yell at the umpires when they miss them.
Well, and don't we like in baseball, just like in hockey where we enjoy some fisticuffs and a dude getting tossed in the timeout, zone, don't we enjoy in baseball a nice little healthy argument with the umpire?
Of course. There should be more of it.
Of the show.
Yeah.
I want Lou Piniella out there telling a guy, giving him the business, right? Like the other night, Bud Black was beside himself when they
on a half swing.
On a half swing by Teoscar Hernandez. And it cost him the game. The Dodgers ended up winning that game because of one call. And Bud Black, you could read his lips, he went ballistic. And then he got tossed. I love that kind of stuff.
The thing about it, usually in all sports, you restrict the number of challenges because they take so long. And in basketball, people get very frustrated with how long it takes to run a replay. Okay, the difference is on the ball and strike replays, it takes like 2 seconds. They know immediately. Somebody's in the umpire's ear and says, no, that was a strike.
Okay, I've got the solution. First off, the idea you're going to limit a team to 3 challenges is absurd.
Yeah.
3 is crazy. I think you give 1 to each player participating in the game. You each get a challenge.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a challenge. And you can use it whenever you want. If you want to save it until the later innings, save it to a big moment where you got 2 or
Yeah.
3 guys on base.
It should be a strike 3 or a ball 4, right?
Yeah. Use it when you want, and you get one. So give one to every player, but 2 or 3 is not enough.
The other thing I think, and I haven't heard about this, why should the hitter get the challenges and the pitcher or catcher not get challenges? Because just as many times that ball comes right down the middle of the plate. Ball.
And you
Now, wait
see-
a second. I want to challenge that. I hope they get challenges too, right? Wouldn't
They
that make
should.
sense?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be just the hitter. You miss them both ways.
No, if you throw a pitch that you know is a strike and you think the ump is a dum-dum, then just tap your head.
Yeah, the catcher's right there. He's the guy that would know because he has more experience with balls and strikes than umpires do. They work behind the plate once out of 4 games.
Well-
He's behind the plate every game.
That's why I love watching catchers hit. And when they see a ball that comes across and they don't like the call, they won't usually get mad at the ump. They'll just turn around and be like, "Hey, what'd you see there?"
Yeah,
You know, they're smart because they've
but
seen.
they don't want to antagonize.
They don't want to antagonize.
And plus, I think catchers get a better shake on the calls
Mm-hmm.
because the umpire knows he's got to live with that guy for 9
Yeah,
innings.
yeah, and
And
vice
that-
versa. That's why
that
the
happens.
catchers are very diplomatic in how they deal with the ump.
Now, the other thing about the radar calls on these, and I told you about this after I saw the U.S. Open tennis. It was the first time I'd seen Hawkeye in person. Balls bounce on the Hawkeye in tennis. The hair on the tennis ball catches just a tiny bit of the line. That's in.
Yeah,
It's in. Now, in baseball, if a stitch of the baseball catches that kind of edge of the strike zone, they're going to call that a strike.
good.
And I can understand why people say, come on, I'm watching that ball. And they always look outside if just a hair catches the line.
Well, if you're going
It's-
to use technology and go with the ABS, then even if it's just a fraction of the ball that hits the zone, strike.
Yeah. Well, either that or I think these machines are adjustable. So, okay, half the ball has to be there or a quarter of the ball or whatever. Make it so it's consistent. All anybody wants anyway is consistency on the balls and strikes.
What do you think is a fair number of challenges? Unlimited, 1 per player, 10 for your team for the game. What do you think is a good number?
I actually think the one per player really makes the most sense because some players, they alibi like crazy. They're going to want to use it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they are. And that's a shame. I mean, if you're going to allow unlimited, you might as well just let the machines call every pitch.
Yeah.
But I really think baseball doesn't want a lot of them because it'll just show how bad the umpires are. If a guy misses 20 pitches in the first 6 innings of the game, he won't get off that field. I mean, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, if you're going to have the human element, you can't have them being shown up 100 times a night.
Yeah.
Because it makes them look really bad.
Mhm.
And then at that point, by the end of the year, they'd be like, okay, we're getting rid of umps. We don't need the humans anymore.
Yeah.
They can't get the job done. So I think you got to limit the number, but you're right. I think 1 per player would be great.
Yeah, and then any smart guy would save it till the end of the game, unless he's up with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and he knows good and well that the pitch was outside and they called it a strike. Go ahead, because it's a run. Anytime you can get a run off a missed call, you better do it.
All right, Godfather. One other baseball note. We're continuing to see a number of pitchers who are having to take the Tommy John surgery route.
A lot of them.
Why are we seeing a spike in Tommy Johns? What's going on?
Well, I think part of it, Chad, and I mentioned this before, they're going to velocity clinics, places where they teach you how to throw the ball even harder. And they use a lot of techniques, including weighted balls, light balls, all kinds of things to absolutely stretch the arm as far out as they can in terms of velocity. And those are the guys that seem to be showing up with Tommy John surgeries, problems with the UCL nerve and even shoulder problems. I think there needs to be more research done on what these players are doing. And then I think also, what are your physical therapists and your trainers doing for injury prevention? Are you stretching these guys out the right way? Are you monitoring the condition? Because today you can monitor the condition of these guys' arms. And you should be doing that so that if they're getting close to the breaking point, sit them down for a while. Have them just take a month off, a week off, whatever they need. But it's too many. And we shouldn't be seeing this many guys go down with needing Tommy John surgeries. Baltimore's lost 3 of their starting pitchers already.
And who was it? Kyle Bradish was
Bradish.
the latest? Yeah.
Bradish is the latest guy, Chad, who's been their best pitcher. They've lost 2 bullpen guys, including their closer, and 3 of their 4 starters. That's ridiculous. How can they stay in the pennant race when they're losing guys like this? Because if you lose them for TJ surgery, they're out a year. You're done for this year.
All right, a couple of notes here. Larry Mathis chimes in. Are they going to customize strike zones to players, or is the box the same for Judge as it is for Altuve?
No, they're customized. In fact, it was my understanding players had to stand at the plate in spring training, and then they got the measurements on them for the box. Yeah. And then all they have to do is worry about up and down. Plate stays the same.
All right. Also, Shauna Sandy says a smart person isn't afraid to surround themselves with the smartest people they can and take their suggestions in order to get business done.
The smartest people want the smartest people.
I agree. And unfortunately, there are coaches in all sports that are afraid to hire top-notch assistants because they view those guys as threats to end up taking their job, right?
Absolutely. Been going on for years, Chad. They don't want to hire the next coach as their assistant. And maybe there's a few coaches who probably suffered that fate.
All right, and here's maybe a solution to you freezing your ass off over there with the thermostat.
Thank you.
Mika chimes in and says, you need magnetic vent covers for the AC vents in your studio. It's a game changer. I don't even know what that is.
Well, I assume it's just, I don't know. I don't either. Something we could close, I guess, and keep the cold air from coming in.
And how's the temperature in there right now, Shacker, in the control room?
Freezing cold, but I don't know how to cover
He's
these
nipping
things
out. He told me earlier he was his nips were getting hard.
So I can bring just cover these vents and I'll get rid of the cold air.
How are your
Can't
nips?
be that easy. Oh, they're gonna
Rock
break
hard?
the microphone if I bump it into it.
All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the Rip City Drive. And we got some goodies that we're going to give away. We do want to talk about Charlie Woods for just a moment. Big news for him.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what that is next. Well, this is some prime Van Halen right here. Summer Nights and My Radio Shacker. All right, Godfather, how cool is this? The son of Tiger Woods, Charlie Woods, has qualified for his first USGA event, man. That is awesome. I got to be honest with you, in those father-son events, like Charlie Woods is one of my favorite golfers to watch. Just his swing, his demeanor, how good he is at such a young age.
Yeah.
And I can't help but see his dad in him when he's out there on the course. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny that, it seems Tiger is kind of moving along the same path with Charlie that Earl did with Tiger, his father. Tiger won that tournament as a 15-year-old, I believe. He won it 3 times. And then he went on and won the junior and or the U.S. Amateur is what he won, I think, 2 or 3 times also. So he's pushing him. He's pushing him to play with better players, which is always good. And it looks like the kid has a great demeanor. He doesn't seem to get upset when he hits a bad shot. I think he started today with a bogey and a double and still managed to end up 1 under par.
That's awesome. Anytime you can get off to a bad start and rebound and finish strong, I think that's a great mark of a good golfer.
Yeah, and somebody with the right temperament for the game.
Well, here is where Tiger is different from Earl, and I like this because I've heard Tiger talk about this. Obviously, Tiger's intense, and he wants his son to do well.
Mm-hmm.
But he took the similar path to, who was the gangster? Gary Trent. His son, Gary Trent Jr., who came into the NBA, is now up in Toronto after being a trailblazer. When Gary Trent Jr. started to show signs that he could be a pretty good basketball player, he went to his dad and asked for help. And he's like, okay, I will help you, and I will show you what needs to be done for you to have a chance to get into the league. But just so you know, it's a lot of work. But if you're willing to commit to that, then I'll work with you and show you everything I know to help you achieve your goal. And Tiger took the same approach. It's like, okay, if you really want this, if it's something you want and you really desire this, then I will help you and work with you and show you kind of the pathway that you need to take with your game so that you can get to that level. So it was kind of one of those deals where it's like, hey, I'm here to work with you. And I'll push you, but there's a lot of work involved, but only if it's something that you truly want.
Right.
I don't think Tiger really had a choice, right? Earl had a club in his hands
when
he was a youngster, a toddler.
He was on TV shows at 4 or 5 years old, hitting the ball.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to watch Charlie continue to develop, and hopefully he's going to be able to learn from some of the physical errors that Tiger may have made over time, like in terms of taking better care of your body, or at least doing things preventative-wise so you can avoid the back issues, the injuries and so forth, so you can have a healthier career. Because the biggest thing that's, prevented Tiger from getting over the hump and chasing down Jack has been the injuries, right? And as those start to pile up for a variety of different reasons, then all of a sudden you're not the same player and you can't compete on the same level. So you want, Charlie needs to keep his body right and stay healthy. And if so, with the type of genes he's got a chance to be freaking awesome. And it's going to be fun to watch him. And he has the demeanor because as he gets older, Godfather, and he starts participating in PGA Tour events, can you imagine what it's going to be like to be Tiger Woods' son out there on the golf course? That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, I mean, he's got all his mannerisms, don't you think? I mean,
the club
I've seen
twirl.
He looks just like his dad.
Yeah, and he gets a little hot sometimes.
Yeah.
If he doesn't execute a shot the way he knows he can.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome to see. But I can't think of a better father to have than that one if you want to pursue being a pro golfer.
Yeah, well, not only that, I think he's got basically a golf course in his backyard. I mean, the practice facility he has, and then his dad's operating that club now in Florida that he owns. And so the kid's playing anywhere he wants to play, probably every day.
I was watching a video last night of Tiger on his course in his backyard, and someone was doing a video with him talking about different wedge shots using his 60-degree.
Yeah.
And Tiger was, and then I watched another video with Fred Couples, and he's got so many different tools with one club in terms of what type of shot it is, where the pin is located, what the conditions are like, if he wants to hit a cut, if he wants to hit a draw on a chip shot. and then the spin and what he does to, work with the spin. He talked about, for him, the wedge game's all feel. Like Bryson has that clock system, right, where he brings the club back.
Pendulum.
Yeah. So he stops the club based on a clock in his head, and you hear him talking to his caddy about this all the time, and he talks about it in his videos all the time. But Tiger says, I don't have a clock system. He goes, I go strictly off of feel based on where the pin's at, what the conditions are like, what type of shot I want to hit, and then he tries to visualize it. Then he picks out his target, and he goes from there.
You think Tiger has teaching pros working with his son, too? Do you think he has other voices?
I would imagine so.
I
mean,
would think
don't
he
know.
should, probably.
Yeah, because even Tiger had other people
He always had a swing
in the
coach.
mix, even when his father was still around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have those guys. And not only that, but I think for a game like golf, you don't want just one voice in your head. You might need some other voices depending on what aspect of the game you're working on.
Yeah, there's putting coaches right now, and then swing coaches and everything else.
It is pretty cool. I think Charlie was, at the U.S. Open, Charlie was out there walking around with Tiger.
Oh, really?
They're spending more time together, because for Tiger, his two kids, like golf, and he's talked about this for his daughter, golf is kind of a sore subject for her because golf was what always kept daddy away when she was younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Tiger's found other interests that he and his daughter share, the outside of golf that they can go and focus and spend time together, which is cool. But with Charlie, it's always been golf. So they spend time together practicing, playing, and then he likes to hang out with Tiger now when they go to these big tournaments and stuff, which is kind of cool. But you can see it and in the way he walks, his mannerisms. I see a lot of Tiger and Charlie.
Well, we're going to see him showing up in tournaments here real soon, too. He's going to get sponsor exemptions for PGA events.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you want him in there? It's going to bring a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were at a tournament, I'd rather go around and watch Charlie play than a lot of the other pros on tour right now.
Yeah.
I would walk with Bryson. You saw Bryson up close out here at the Live event.
At the Live event.
That pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was it to see Bryson up close and personal like that?
Well, he looked different then, Chad. He was bigger, and he did drop some pounds before this year. I think he realized he had gotten too much bulk.
But what's it like seeing him swing a driver up close?
I mean, you can't even see the ball when it comes down. I mean, he hits the ball so far. He's got to have, that's the best thing about playing on the tour is you got four caddies way out there in the wilderness spotting your ball for you. And I thought the same thing with DJ. Those guys hit the ball just out of sight. It's ridiculous how far they hit the ball.
I wish local golf courses would have spotters on every hole. It would speed up the process a lot more.
Yeah, when we have some tournaments, like I think we had the Oregon Am a year ago. I was one of those guys. I was the four caddy on a couple long holes.
The guys I play with, I'm younger than them, so I'm always I got to pay attention to where their ball is going so I can point them in the right direction.
Help them out. Yeah, I need that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do that, but my eyes they're getting worse, not better.
Yeah,
so at some point, I'm not going to be able to help them, and I need someone to help me.
That's when you got to start getting a caddy.
Well, I have played with a caddy before, and it's pretty awesome.
It is, yeah.
I don't mind that. I couldn't. He was like, "Do you want me to push your clubs?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I got him." I didn't want him to do it.
So he just walked along beside you?
Yeah, and I gave him a nice tip afterwards, but he gave me input, and it was cool to have that voice.
Where were you playing?
At Heron.
Oh, really?
What they do every year is they bring out these junior golfers who need to do X number of work through their academy.
Well, and they're eligible for Evans scholarships when they caddy, which is really cool.
And that's what it was for. And so they'll have them out there and they'll ask, "Do you want to caddy?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that."
Yeah.
And because I like having that voice, it calms me to have someone there to say, "Hey, no, you got this." Or once I get an idea about your swing and your game, it's just nice to get that type of input.
And I should say this, the Evans scholarships are the greatest thing ever. If your children ever have an opportunity to caddy and get involved in that program, they should.
Do you think Charlie Woods needs the Evans scholarship?
No, I doubt that would. I don't know if he's going to college either. He might just jump right in.
It's quite possible. We'll come back. SEC Money, it does a lot of good things. We'll explain that. And we got some giveaways that we're going to give away. Also, good news for downtown Portland. We'll explain here on the Rip City Drive. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Now, 4 o'clock chat here. We start with the NBA, where the Lakers have hired J.J. Redick as their next head coach, agreeing to a 4-year deal. Elsewhere, the Bulls have agreed to send Alex Caruso to Oklahoma City in exchange for Josh Giddey. From the NFL, the Patriots and running back Romador Stevenson have agreed to a 4-year, $36 million deal. Checking the Major League scoreboard right now. Top 9 in New York. Orioles routing the Yankees 16-5. Earlier finals, Diamondbacks over the Nationals 5-2. Guardians double up the Mariners 6-3. A final in 10 innings in Minnesota. The Rays 7 and the Twins 6. Astros top the White Sox in Chicago 5-3. The Dodgers down the Rockies 5-3 in Colorado. And in Oakland, the Royals over the Athletics by a score of 3-2. More of the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad coming at you right now. Who is this? Is this the... Boy, nice work on the Cool in the Gang, Shacker. That is badass right there.
It's good summer music right there.
Summer, summer, summertime. All right, we got goodies to give away. Dwight and I want to take care of you, and we're going to do that right now. We have 2 4-pack of tickets for the Hankook Portland E pre-race, which is going down Sunday, June 30th over at PIR. You can get your tickets at FIAFormulaE.com. But we have 2 4-packs to give away, so we'll take the first 2 callers through. Shacker will get your information and get you dialed in. If you would like to go to the Portland E pre-race Sunday, June 30th at PIR, call now, 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. That's your telephone number. First 2 callers through at 503-248-0620 will get a 4-pack of tickets for the Hankook Portland E pre-race June 30th at PIR. Call now, 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. 4-pack of tickets for the Portland E pre-race Sunday, June 30th at PIR. Telephone number here, if you want to reach out to Dwight and I, is 503-248-0620. All right, Godfather, let's start with this. And I'm curious about this because we're going to have a chance to see the impact here over the next few years. But the SEC has 2 teams in the championship round of the College World Series. They dominate football. They had a good showing in college basketball this year. Obviously, they have a great showing in baseball. They had a good showing in softball. Pretty much all sports, the SEC is right there hanging in and competing for championships.
Yeah, now they're starting to show it, Chad, in the so-called Olympic sports, what we used to call minor sports.
Yeah.
And then the women's sports, too, they're becoming very dominant in basketball.
All right, well, here's my belief. This is what I think is going to happen. I think what we're seeing in the SEC is it's not just football that benefits from the big TV money that's coming in.
Yeah.
The reason why this is so huge and the reason why Oregon and Washington are going to benefit greatly by being in a massive conference like the Big Ten is I think what's going to happen, Godfather, just like we're seeing in the SEC, it's going to happen in the Big Ten as well. All this money is pouring in, which is going to get funneled out to your other sports.
Yeah.
So while you can continue to dominate and approach football and attack it so you can go out and try to win championships because that's the big-time meal ticket and moneymaker, that's fine. But then you look around at all these other sports, all of a sudden you can become relevant and competitive in basketball because you have the money to compete on the recruiting grounds. Softball, baseball, boom, boom, boom. You have the money to pour into your facilities, so athletes will want to take part in your university. Everything about your athletic department benefits from being a part of a big-time conference.
Yeah, and there's no question, Chad, that kind of money impacts your facilities, which has always been, at least before NIL, facilities have been one of the biggest tools to recruit. And I watch if you're a college baseball fan, watch some SEC games during the regular season and take a look at their ballparks. They're like full out AAA baseball ballparks. They're amazing, the amount of money they spend on those. And they've got money for everything. They've got great softball diamonds now, real stadiums, not just something with 2 benches and a backstop. I mean, these are full, drawn out softball fields. Well, I'll tell you what, you can recruit some pretty good players if you're playing in a palace like that seats 5, 6, 7,000 people. Man, oh man, everybody wants to play in an environment like that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of money it takes. I mean, Oregon State, as far as I'm concerned, I know historic Goss Stadium. They need a new ballpark if they want to have a top 10 team. They don't have the money to construct one of those ballparks. They just don't. And they keep chipping away at improvements, and they've done a great job with Goss, but it's still not like an SEC ballpark. It's not.
Imagine what this move to the Big Ten is going to do for Oregon.
Oh, gosh, because their facilities are great already. I can't imagine with gold plating now in their operations center. I don't know what they do with all that money.
Now it's just a matter of sitting back and saying, what do we need? Let's go out there and get it done. Let's come up with a plan.
Don't you think Autzen Stadium expansion is definitely on their plate?
100%.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not going to be able to fill the seats if you add more to it.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have a second deck on the opposite side of the press box. I would bet you on that.
Wow, man. This is what big-time money will do, these big-time conferences.
Yeah.
And the TV money is massive. Massive. Wait till we see the playoff expansion this year, how good it is. It's not going to take long to expand that out even more.
Oh, yeah.
And the money's just going to keep rolling in.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, these conferences will get sponsors and more money will roll in.
And then a big, giant gulf between the haves and the have-nots.
That's the downside.
Mm-hmm.
The upside is for the teams who are involved in these big-time conferences, it's a boon for them.
Yeah.
But for teams like Washington State and Oregon State who don't have a home right now, brutal.
The future does not look bright.
No, that's why they got to find a way to latch on with the conference so they can get more guaranteed money rolling in.
Yeah.
It's an absolute must. This is potentially good news, but from Travel Portland, Godfather, this is the report that came out. This is from Savannah Welsh. She says, downtown Portland tourism, according to Travel Portland, reports that tourism is returning to downtown Portland with hotel room demand growing by 9% in 2023. Some hotels, however, say staying open has been a challenge, especially for boutique hotels. I spoke with the owner of the Society Hotel who tells me they're seeing a consistent decline in occupancy with 2024 being worse than previous years.
Yeah, I hope that's real. I hope that increase is real. Sometimes the tourist bureaus tend to pump that up a little bit so that people think, hey, everybody's coming back to Portland, must be okay now. And it's better. There's no doubt about that. You were talking about that with me earlier. It's better downtown. I would just say, too, it could be that the boutique hotels have a bigger problem because people don't see them in the same light that they see the big chain hotels, which they know have the money for better security. Parking lots are probably better, or they even have parking lots. Some of the boutique hotels are not really they're probably not as well regarded as the chains are.
Well, I can only speak from personal experience. After a long hiatus from downtown Portland, I have been downtown for a variety of different reasons on multiple occasions over the last month. It does look better today than it had a couple of years ago.
How does that manifest itself?
I don't know.
Less graffiti? Are you seeing?
Well, less trash, less graffiti, less
sidewalk sleepers?
Yeah. Yep. It just, and I was down there recently when the weather was nice. The place where I get my hair done is downtown. And it's by a large park that used to be filled by a lot of vagrants. Mm-hmm. Whatever the appropriate word is for those individuals.
I don't know what the polite word is now. I'm sorry.
But it's much cleaner now, and it's looking good. And it makes me want to get out and walk around, you know. And you and I have talked about this for years. I know it's a difficult subject for you because you've grown up here and you used to love downtown because it was awesome with the shopping and the different sights to see and everything. And I'm a big restaurant goer and like to check out local spots. So I hope this does continue, or at least this current trend, and hopefully we can continue to get more leadership in the city that understands the importance of reviving downtown and protecting the small business.
And what we need downtown, and you'll hear it over and over again, and people don't want to hear this sometimes. The big thing that would help downtown is employees having to go back to the office. A lot of employees have gotten real accustomed to working from home, but that's really hurt downtown. It's cost them all that lunch business they used to get in the restaurants and the walking around. Just the general activity downtown has decreased quite a bit because those office buildings still aren't filling up like they used to.
I don't know what it's like for you, but most of the people I know, friends that I know, or acquaintances I have, the majority work from home.
Yeah, and a lot of them say they're not going back to an office.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do the rest of their life. And I think that's fine if you can pull it off, but I do think companies are going to start requiring more people show up to work.
Well, I know it's been a challenge for the big boss here at iHeart to get – he wants people in the office, but when you're getting similar or better production from employees being at home, it's hard to force them to come back in. But the hard part is for me is like – and I'm a weirdo like that, but I like camaraderie from having people around. And most of the time when we're here in the building, like there's no one around.
Hardly anybody. When I leave here, I'm usually the last guy out. It's unbelievable to me. And I do think, Chad, productivity is important. I think it improves more when there's the synergy of all those people together in an office, sparking ideas among the group. And I hate to say that because all my friends are at home and they don't want to come back.
Yeah. Well, like tonight, I'm going to head to downtown Vancouver. The last couple of times I've been to downtown recently, when the weather's like this, there's people everywhere. It is booming down there. It's nice. It's vibrant. Restaurants, entertainment. People are walking around. Like that kind of stuff makes me happy. But then again, this type of sunshine and warmth makes me happy. I basically just like this time of year. The summertime is the best. And I miss those days when I used to go downtown. We used to head down to downtown right there on the waterfront to pick up hoop all the time. I mean, it was a destination point.
Yeah.
We'd come down, get something to eat. We'd go play hoop. We'd spend a lot of time down there on the waterfront. I mean, that's kind of the thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so different.
Back in the
now.
good old days.
Yeah. And you're a young guy to be saying that kind of stuff. But
What were some of the best, like, do you like boutique hotels? Or were there any boutique hotels in town that you used to like? I don't know. Would the Governor Hotel be considered a boutique hotel?
Yeah, probably. But, Chad, for very monetary reasons, I've always been a points guy. And those boutique hotels, for the most part, don't supply points.
Yeah, so you go, that's why you take the Marriott route.
Marriott's, and they're affiliated with Renaissance now. They're affiliated even with some bigger, fancier hotels. So it's tough choices. I know a lot of people like the little ones and quaint. No thanks. I stayed in the Governor for a while when the houseboat was being used to film an episode of what was that show? That goofy show of the monsters and everything. What was it called?
They used named like 50 different shows that have been on in the past.
Shacker knows. What was it?
I thought you were on Cops.
No.
A show with the Munsters?
No. It was like werewolves and
Grimm?
Grimm, yeah.
Never heard of it.
Grimm?
No, never heard of Grimm.
It ran several seasons. They did a show on that. They paid me handsomely to use the houseboat for an episode.
I thought they did that for Portlandia.
No, I didn't do Portlandia from the houseboat.
I was always under the impression that they use your houseboat for Portlandia.
Oh, no. That was City Hall. I was standing in front of City Hall to do that.
Well, I used to work in the basement of the Governor Hotel with the Princeton Athletic Club, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Luke
was there, right?
Luke was there, and so I went there to work and worked there for a few years, yeah.
I almost joined that athletic club, but what happened to it? It kind of just disappeared.
Well, it ended up moving over to a building about a block away, and then the new owners, it just ended up going away.
Oh.
Yep. But yeah, so I've stayed at the Governor several times. It was a nice place, and of course they got Jake's Restaurant, which is really good.
Yeah.
And not to be mistaken for Jake's Crawfish, which is a block up.
Right.
Two different Jake restaurants nearly side by side. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine outside. When we come back, we're going to hopefully get the Godbrother on to wish him a happy birthday. Also, I think he got tickets for the Eagles at the Sphere. Got to find out how much he paid for that. Then we'll talk about the Celtics dilemma with Derek White, and also a little Oregon State NBA type trivia for you that we'll finish things off with. That's coming up next. Well, Godfather, today is a very special day. The Godbrother is celebrating his birthday, so we're going to bring him on right now. Godbrother, what's going on? Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chad and Godbrother or Godfather.
Whatever,
Great day.
Bruce. Happy birthday, Bruce.
That's great. What are you doing to
Hey,
celebrate
thank you.
today, Bruce?
Well, my son gave me a big surprise. He said, I want to take you out to lunch. So we went to Philadelphia Steak and Hoagies. And, of course, I was about 30 minutes late. And many of my old friends and coaching friends and things were there.
Wow.
And it was a wonderful surprise. It was the best gift I could have ever had. It really was.
Where is Philadelphia? Is that over in Southeast, like in Selwood?
Used to
There's
be.
one, in Westmoreland, and then there's one in West Lynn.
Lynn.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice, man. So that's good. That's good. So it's nice to see all
Yeah,
those
it was
guys.
a lot
I
of,
bet.
it was a fun time.
Nice,
Yeah, it
nice
was
of you
great.
to show up 30 minutes late, too. I'm sure that was a big hit.
Well, yeah, I was out getting some free stuff, so you know me. It's on
That's
my
great.
birthday.
That's great.
Free
What else?
donuts, free ice cream, a lot of stuff.
What else you got going on tonight? Anything, or was that the big shebang?
My wife's taking me to Benihana's.
Oh, Benihana's.
I like Benihana.
I've never
Yeah.
been to Benihana's, Godbrother.
It's fun.
That's fun.
Oh, by the
Yeah,
way,
I have a whole list of either good restaurants in Portland or Vegas. And I know you and Steve go to. Isn't Steve from Vegas?
yeah, he lives down in Vegas. Yep, we like to hang
Yeah,
out at South
I-
Point.
Okay, that's I like South Point. But have you ever eaten at Gen?
No, I have not.
And it is in the Miracle Mile, Planet Hollywood area. It's phenomenal if you like good food. And then the Golden Spur, it's Vegas' longest running steakhouse. I think in 1958, it's where the Rat Pack was, along with Herbs and Rye, the Rat Pack. And then happy hour there, it's half price for all the meals, which is good.
For all the meals, that's incredible. What's your go-to when you
Right,
go
steak.
to the Golden Spur? What do you like to get?
Steak, New York.
Nice work. I was going to tell you, I went through the tour at Yankee Stadium, and I was greatly disappointed in the tour. They were very pathetic for being the Yankees. The tour for the price and what they charged. It was an underwhelming tour. The one at in Colorado and Dodger Stadium much better, superior to the Yankee Stadium tour.
Well, like I told you, I've only taken the tour when they're out of town, and we got to go in the clubhouse, and a couple of players had huge boxes of creatine and all these enhancing things in their lockers and things. That was great to see, and they're giving out broken bats and baseballs, and the guy that gave the tour was a guy about 90 years old, believe it or not, and he knew all the old sluggers. He told a lot of Mickey Mantle stories and Yogi stories, and it really was a pleasant experience. But I know that's a long time since that's when George was alive and running the ball club too.
That's
So,
terrific. Yeah, I think the best way to do it, tours, because I've done it on non-game days as well. I think that's the best time to do it. I think every tour you get more access on a non-game day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's no question.
Well, I got another quick Willie Mays story, real quick. I ran into a guy that coached Darryl Strawberry. I was coaching, and we were in the regional tournament, and he was good friends with Willie, and he coached Gooden. He coached a lot of players, but he told me the story that happened. It's a true story. Willie was up the plate with runner on second and third, and he stepped out of the box. It was 3-0 count. He looked down there, and he got back in the box. He said, "What in the heck is it? Why did they give me the take sign for crying out loud? Gee, best hitter in the order." Next pitch, fastball, he hit out of the ballpark. Came around the bases. He says, "I never follow directions."
That's great, man. That's awesome. I love that. Oh, by the way, I'm going to 13 Coins in Vancouver tonight.
Oh, that's a good place to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
Are you paying?
No,
Are
I'm
you
not.
paying?
No,
Oh, well,
it's
that's
a
good.
late
That's
Father's
even
Day
better.
present. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
All right, so
But other than that, I'm really enjoying it.
that's good. So you got your tickets for the Eagles at the Spear. Which date you going to?
Going, I think it's the 8th, Friday night, the 8th, November 8th. And David got 2 tickets. My wife said at first she didn't want to go. So we got 2 tickets for $300, and then she said, "Oh, I want to go after her." So the next ticket was $455.
So you got
That's a lot of money.
So the first ticket was $300, or you got them for $300 total?
No, each.
Yeah,
300 each.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty spendy.
It is. The Spear. I mean, I haven't been in it yet, but everyone I've talked to that's seen a concert at the Spear, God Brother said it was awesome.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Hey,
And
Bruce,
it's a fun place to go, Vegas.
give us some local food recommendations.
Okay. Well, I know a place that Chad's good friends at Kennard's. I think Chad goes there in Oregon City. It's a French cuisine place. He's real good friends with the owner. Isn't that right?
No,
Chad?
but I've been to Kennard's.
Sliders?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, sliders are really great. You can sit and watch them cook the food, and it's real good. And then a pizza place that I just found, a hole-in-the-wall pizza place that it's just a kind of a traditional, but man, their pizzas are really good. Pile on the ingredients. It's called Hometown Pizza. It's on 72nd and Southeast Woodstock, right across from the park there. You wouldn't know it's there hardly. It's real small, but it's really busy.
You ever
Really
been
big.
there,
And then
Godfather?
another place
No, but those hole-in-the-wall pizza places tend to be pretty good.
And then the other place I love going to is Piece of Cake. Have you ever been there? Of course, you don't eat desserts much, but there's
That's in
chocolate
Selwood.
cakes, and it's in Selwood. It's in Selwood, yes.
Yeah, my daughter loves
And then
it.
another place you might take your daughter to is called Cupcakes. It's on Southeast Foster, maybe about 70th or so, Southeast Foster. Really good cupcakes, but
That place has gotten
little
great
spendy.
reviews. Yeah, a little spendy, but
Yeah.
that's gotten great reviews. Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, but always fresh, always fresh. That's what makes them really nice.
Any update, Bruce,
So-
on coming fast food restaurants? Anything getting ready to come to Portland that we haven't seen in a while?
Well, I know that In-N-Out has had some snags out in Beaverton, as you probably read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I not really. A lot of them just don't like all the zoning requirements and all the issues you have to put up with. But the one that if you're out of town on a freeway or something, you might go to Jamba Juice on the freeways because more and more of them have the automated systems where you the robots make your juice. You don't have any employees making them for you. It's kind of neat.
Automated.
You put your money. Automated, yeah.
It's genius.
Totally automated.
I love that.
Is there
You have a
anything that
kiosk and you just put what ingredients, and a robot just goes. They have two of them, and they just mix it and do everything that needs to be done.
All right, Bruce, is there anything that you run into outside of town that you wish was here in Portland?
Boy, yeah, Longhorn Steakhouse. And they have one in Dallas. They have them in Phoenix. They have them in Orlando. I love them. It's owned by the same fellow that owns the Rockets, Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I've been to
really
Lo-
good.
I've been to
Really
good
Longhorn.
steak.
I've
That's
been
a
to Longhorn down in
Fertitas.
Phoenix. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, they're good. And then I guess the other one is Ruby River Steakhouse, and they're across the United States. It's a chain outfit, but they're prime rib, and their steaks are delicious. They have one in Reno, one in Vegas, one in L.A., and Salt Lake City, I believe. Those are good. I wish they'd bring one of those to Portland.
Well, God, brother,
Really good.
we're glad that you called in, and it's great to hear your voice. I'm glad you got your tickets for the Eagles, and happy birthday, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. Are you going to see the Eagles down there, Chad?
I would imagine I'm having a debate in my mind, but the chances would be pretty high, I would guess.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday, God, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much.
There you
Appreciate
go.
it.
He sounds pretty happy today, Godfather.
Well, he should. And that was a great job. His son, David, is the best. To get together a bunch of his old friends, that's a gift. When you can see a bunch of guys you haven't seen in a while, reminisce about the old days, that's a great birthday gift.
No question about it. It's awesome, man. So the God brother's happy. I'm happy. Happy birthday to him. And so he's going to dinner tonight. You know, the wife's going to take care of him. He's
Yeah.
dialed in.
Yeah, he's going to have a little Japanese food.
Have you been to Benihana?
Oh, yeah, many times. They cook it on the grill right in front of you, and the chefs have all those tricks with their knives. You know, they juggle them, they cut stuff real fast, and their fried rice is unbelievably good.
The only one I've been to is the only one I've seen is the one right out here off 217.
Yeah.
Is that the only? That's probably the only one in town, right?
As far as I know, there used to be one downtown many years ago, but they're not there anymore. I think this one out here in Beaverton's the only one, or Tigard, whatever their address is, kind of right across from Washington Square.
All right, let's shift our focus to the NBA for just a moment. You know, the Celtics won the championship, and you know how it works in the NBA, Godfather, is that when you win a title and you've got key pieces of your championship team that become available through free agency, the price is going to be steep.
Yeah. We've seen the Warriors go through that.
No question. And
hard to keep your team together.
Fortunately for Boston, they only have one guy that's up, and it's Derek White, who doesn't get the attention or the fanfare that Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or some of the other guys on the roster do, but he is a critical piece because he's such a great defender, and he was critical during their season and playoff run. Now, this is coming out from NBA Central. John Hollinger is reporting the Celtics would reportedly have to offer Derek White an average of about $31.75 million annually to keep him. Quote, White will be eligible for an extension for up to 4 years and $127 million this summer, including incentives. League sources say the Celtics are strongly interested in a deal with him and would likely need to offer every cent of that to get it done. White's extension amount has been reported as a different number in some places because the incentives in his deal weren't considered likely before this season, but based on his 2023-24 season, they're all likely. Well, the way I look at it with Derek White, the Celtics just won a championship. They've got the roster and the pieces to be able to go back-to-back and win another championship. So you might as well lock Derek White in, and then after next year, if you win another championship and then the Jaylen Brown extension kicks in, you can deal with all the problems at that point. But in this juncture, with the group that they have, don't you feel like they kind of have to go all in and just commit to it to get the most out of it you can before you have to start breaking it apart?
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer.
I don't think you have any choice. They have an open window now to go. They could go 2 or 3 in a row. It's possible, especially back-to-back, because after this next year, they're going to have some contract problems.
Yes. And as you mentioned, too, one thing that will help is with the increase in the salary cap, that should help alleviate some of the pain that they're going to have. They won't be able to keep it together forever, but this team's unique. I mean, they put together a great roster, and I like rewarding players who buy in, handle a role, get the job done, and make things happen.
Yeah, this is Boston, too. This is where you won one title. Okay, we've had teams win like 11 in a row or 10 out of 11, whatever those guys did. And it's like, to really impress them back there, you better go get another one.
All right, this came up. You sent this over to me, and I'll just put some of the names out there because I could only think of 2 off the top of my head. But CBS Sports put together the college programs with the most NBA champions. UCLA is atop the list with 18, Carolina 17. Thank you, MJ. Kentucky's got 15, Kansas with 13, followed by Arizona, Ohio State. And then you drop into single digits with Florida, Minnesota, Oregon State, Louisville, and Michigan State. At the bottom of the list is Duke, Indiana, and Iowa with 7 apiece. The interesting part in this is that Oregon State's got multiple guys who have played for their program who have NBA championships.
And more than Duke has, which is pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. And Oregon's got none. They're not on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only 2 names I could think of off the top of my head were Gary Payton. He won his championship with the Heat, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And then Brent Barry with the Spurs.
Right. Those are 2 legit ones.
Who are some other names that you know of?
Well, the one people forget all the time is A.C. Green, who won the most. He won 3 with the Lakers.
That's the most obvious one that I should have remembered, but A.C. Green just slipped my mind.
Yeah.
But number 45 played for the Lakers. He was their power forward next to James Worthy, and he was the perfect Pat Riley player. He was tough. He could rebound. He could run the floor. He did everything that Showtime team needed him to do.
Yeah.
Selfless.
Yeah. He was really kind of the unknown soldier of that team. People, when they talk about the great Laker teams, they don't mention him.
All right, so we got A.C. Green. He leads the way for the Beavs with 3. He did that with the Lakers during their Showtime era in the 80s. Mel Counts has got 2.
Yeah, Boston Celtics. He might. I'm trying to think if he won one of those with the Lakers because he was with the Lakers too. But Boston is where he started, and He was the 7-foot center out of Coos Bay that played for the Beavers and got all the way to the Western Regional Final before losing to San Francisco, I think.
Here's the group of guys that have won. Red Rocha?
Yeah.
Who is that?
He's a forward, as I recall. I don't know too much about him. He was later a coach for many years. I think he coached at University of Hawaii for a long time.
Eric Moreland?
Yeah, Shacker knows him. That's a recent player.
He played for Craig Robinson. He was Mr. Block. He was all about the blocks.
But he got hurt a lot, right?
Yeah, but he played 3 seasons and set the record for most blocks at Oregon State.
He was with Toronto, right, Mike?
Yeah. He signed contracts with multiple teams, but he got onto the Raptors roster back in 2019 when they won the championship.
Was he a part of the CBI championship?
No, he was after that.
Okay, that's
kind
too bad.
of like the in-season tournament, Chad.
All right. Brent Berry, obviously we know him, son of Rick Berry. He was a really good Beav. I enjoyed watching him play. Lonnie Shelton.
Everybody knows Lonnie, right? I just didn't remember he played on a championship team.
I don't know who Lonnie Shelton is.
Really?
No.
Power forward, big, tough, strong guy. Woo. Oh, man. You didn't want to go near Lonnie Shelton.
Dave Gamby.
Dave Gamby was out of Beaverton High School, I believe, played at Oregon State, a rugged inside player, shot his free throws underhanded in those days, played for the Celtics. Good player.
And, then, of course, Gary Payton.
And
Gary Payton II.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about GP2, but he won his with the Warriors.
Yeah.
When they took out the Celtics in the finals.
Yeah. Interesting list, really.
It really is. That's crazy to me. But I shame on me for forgetting AC Green.
Yeah, and I shorted Mel Counts. He got to the Final Four at Oregon State. That was the team that Frank Peters played on, too, with Jimmy Jarvis, who played in the ABA a long time. But Mel Counts was legit. He was one of the first big men to be able to shoot from the outside.
Man, UCLA 18, Carolina 17. Kentucky 15,
Kansas
great. 13, and Arizona 11.
Oregon State having more NBA titles than the champions than
Duke.
Carolina, Kentucky.
No. They have Carolina and Kentucky are up near the top. They've
they're
got more than Duke.
Okay.
And Villanova and Indiana.
Wow, Indiana.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, too.
That is pretty wild. All right, Rip City Drive. We're going to keep things rolling here on the show. Brian No, Fox Sports Radio is coming up at 5:20. Boy, Stephen Kwan's on a heater, Godfather. What in the world's going on with Stephen Kwan?
Oh, man.
He's got a new nickname. We'll tell you what that nickname is and what that's all about as he continues to tear it up in the majors. We'll talk with Brian No and get his take on a variety of different things coming up at 5:20. And we got more on J.J. Redick coming up at 5 o'clock. Well, this is a classic from the 80s right here, Rockwell. Michael Jackson kind enough to lend his voice to the song. And I remember when this video came out on Night Tracks on TBS. That's nice. Remember that in the Greatest Night in Pop, that guy that was working the lights in the room where all the stars were going to come?
Uh-huh.
And it was just Michael singing in the room by himself. Quincy was in the booth, and the guy who was working the lights, he said it was like an angel singing. He had never heard a voice that good.
Yeah.
Quincy, is it okay?
God.
All right, I misspoke. I want to make sure I correct myself. The Oregon Ducks have 5 players who have.
Oh, they have 5.
Yeah. So let me give you the list here.
Yes, somebody probably corrected you, right?
No, I just misspoke, and then I looked it up, and then people started correcting me. So it was all one big storm. A guy from West Lim, Jim Loskatoff.
Luskatoff, Jungle Jim.
He won championships with the Celtics 57, 59, 61, 62, 63, and 64.
Yeah.
He won 6 titles with the Celtics. Thank you, Bill Russell. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So you've got Jim, Greg Ballard, who won with Washington back in 78.
Yeah.
Did you know Greg?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, did you know him personally?
No, we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's been in the league. He was an assistant coach. He worked for the league office for a while. Good guy.
I've never had a chance to cross paths with him.
Good friends with just about all those Oregon guys. Was friends of with Dick Harder for many, many years.
Is he boys with Kloss, just like everyone else is?
Yeah, I was just going to say him and Kloss are real tight.
Jordan Bell, who won one with Golden State.
Golden State, yeah.
Yeah.
He jumped into that one.
Chris Boucher with
Toronto, yeah.
in their magical run.
Should have remembered that.
And then Peyton Pritchard, who just joined the list to make it number 5. He just won a title with the Celtics. And Pritchard had a big year. He was great. You liked watching him play.
Oh, man. Half court, buzzer beating 3-point specialist.
There you go. So 5 total Ducks, Oregon State with 9. We're talking about the amount of players that these college programs have had who have gone on to win NBA championships. UCLA, the leader, at 18. Carolina, second, with 17. Kentucky, 15. Kansas, 13. Oregon State on the list at 9, tied for 7th. That's pretty impressive for the Beavs.
It certainly is.
Had some players along the way. All right, Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, is going to join us coming up at 5:20. All right, Stephen Kwan, former Oregon State Beav, is tearing it up right now with the Cleveland Guardians' godfather. Does he lead the majors in hitting right now?
Well, officially, no, because he doesn't have enough plate appearances. He missed a month with a hamstring pull. I will tell you, he missed a month of action. He still leads Major League Baseball in the most 3-hit games, even without a month's worth of games.
It's pretty good.
His numbers are incredible. Going into today's game, he was hitting 397, I think. He actually, I think he doubled his first time up today. That put him at 400, which caused a big fuss among people in baseball. Because you hit 400 this late in the season, at any point, that's a big deal because nobody hits 400. They haven't since Ted Williams did it. So, he's hitting since he came back from the injured list on June 2nd. Since June 2nd, he's hitting 489 with an on-base percentage of 556. In other words, more than half the time he's coming to the plate, he gets on. He walks a lot, got a great eye. And his slugging percentage is .702, which is okay for a guy who bats lead off. And he just hit a home run again the other day, but he won't hit a lot of home runs. It'll be under 10.
I just love his story. I shared that piece that we played a couple of days ago on the show, talking about Quan. He wanted to be a baseball player since he was a young boy. The problem is he was undersized, and he didn't really have anyone to look to that he could kind of set his sights on because he's part Japanese, part Chinese. Mm-hmm. He's got mixed parents. And, there was no one that he could really look towards that kind of fit his profile because he's 5'9", 170. So he always doubted himself and his abilities. And then when he got to Oregon State in his first game, he missed a bunt, missed a ball, made some mistakes, and he's like, it's almost like it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I didn't belong. I shouldn't be here. I suck.
Yeah. He thought he actually got over on the coaches just by getting a ride.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, he got paired up with a guy who started working with him on the mental side of things, and he started
meditation.
Yeah, meditation to get his mind right, and it's really made a big difference for him. And so I just love his story. I mean, he's one of those guys that's had to work his tail off to get to where he's at, and he's overcome, and now he's out there dominating, making a difference for his club. And by the way, Cleveland leads their division and is on fire, one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, I was just reading. Jeff Passan wrote about him today and called him a sublime hitter.
Sublime. That's a great word.
He's hitting, I think, 71 points higher than anybody else in baseball right now.
All right, what's his new nickname given to him by his teammates?
King Kwan.
That's a great nickname.
Yeah, and I figured in Cleveland, somebody else needs that nickname, King.
LeBron would disagree with you.
Yeah, I think he would, yeah.
He would disagree with you.
But I'm going to promote it. He's the king now. Cleveland needs a new king.
Let's see here.
He won Gold Gloves his first 2 years in the big leagues, too. Whoever found him at Oregon State, the guy who scouted him, signed him to a letter of intent, is a genius. The guy was 5'9" and 170 pounds.
Do you remember that King Kong movie that came out like in the early 80s?
Who was that?
Who was the chick
was
in
that
that
the
movie?
King Kong? Yeah, I don't remember who played that role. Was it Kathleen Turner? I don't remember. Had to be a blonde.
I'm trying to think who it was. Was it? Dang it. I can't remember what year it came out. If it was like, I want to say it was like the 80s. I just remember the chick being hot, and that's all I remember.
Yeah. Did you ever see the original one? Original King Kong movie?
Well, I don't know if the one I saw is the original or not. That's what I'm asking.
No, you'd know because it was black and white. It was way back.
Was it Morgan Fairchild?
I don't know. I got to do some Googling. But we're up against a break, so I can't do it on air. We'll figure this out, though. All right, when we come back, we'll get into the Lakers situation, some of the biggest challenges facing J.J. Redick, and more importantly, the Lakers, what a train wreck of a franchise right now. I mean, they really are a disaster. Is this going to be the right move to move them forward? We'll get to that next, and then Brian O will join us at 5:20. All right, 5 o'clock chat here. We start with the NBA. The Lakers have hired J.J. Redick as their next head coach. He will take over for Darvin Ham. He agreed to a 4-year deal. Elsewhere, the Bulls have agreed to send Alex Caruso to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Josh Giddey. From the NFL, the Patriots and running back Romador Stevenson have agreed on a 4-year, $36 million deal. From college baseball, the championship series of the College World Series will kick off on Saturday. It's number 3, Texas A&M, taking on the 1 seed Tennessee. That'll be a 4:30 first pitch on ESPN. Scores from earlier today in the majors. The Mariners fall to Cleveland 6-3. Orioles rout the Yankees 17-5. Royals top the Athletics 3-2. Dodgers over the Rockies 5-3. Brian O going to join us at 5:20. More of the Rip City Drive right now. All right, my friends. The Portland Thorns are going to take on Bay FC August 30th at Providence Park. We got 2 4-packs of tickets that we'd like to deliver to you right now. So if you'd like to go check out the Portland Thorns over at Providence Park on August 30th, call now. First 2 callers through will get a 4-pack of tickets. Just call 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. Shacker will get your info, and then you'll be dialed in. The weather's going to be great, of course, August 30th, and you can enjoy some soccer. Portland Thorns taking on Bay FC. Call now, 503-248-0620. First 2 callers through at 503-248-0620 will get a 4-pack of tickets to see the Portland Thorns take on Bay FC. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. First 2 callers through, 503-248-0620. All right, with the crack research that we did during the break, it indeed was the 1976 film King Kong. And the lady that I remember from the film who was beautiful, and based on my quick YouTube search, I was right, Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
And I think the guy or the man who starred in it was Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges and Charles Grodin was actually in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you see things at a young age. Like, I probably haven't seen that movie since I was like 6.
Yeah.
But it left a mark on me because, 1, I couldn't believe how big King Kong was. 2, Jessica Lange was pretty. And then 3, I was very sad as a young Chad that they killed King Kong. Yeah. You know, because I like him. He's kind of like a superhero. Yeah. And what do you think they're doing there? All right, let's talk about J.J. Redick. For those of you who are just joining us, that's been the news. We've expected this to drop, and finally it has. Now that the finals are over, the Lakers have agreed to terms with J.J. Redick. It's a 4-year deal. I haven't seen anything to indicate what the money's going to be, but probably somewhere, my guess would be around $5 to $6 million a year. But J.J. Redick is going to take over. One thing you think is important for Redick is to have good organization. And what do you mean by that?
Well, everything's got to be really tight. They have to have, as a coaching staff, their philosophy has to be very tight. Everybody on that staff has to know how they're going to play offense and defense, what the team rules are going to be. It has to be organized. You present on the first day, when you meet with your players, you present rules that you might have, showing up at practice, all the things, just little things, but they have to know. And when you show up for practice, got to be in the appropriate gear. We're not having people show up wearing their high school uniforms or something. You know, it's just a lot of little stuff like that. But Fran Fraschilla, who is a TV guy now, coached for years, he had some interesting suggestions, and I thought some of them were genius. The first one he said is, coach your summer league team in Las Vegas. You need every piece of experience possible. And that's really a good idea, because a lot of first-year head coaches go down there and turn it over to an assistant. You should do that. You really should do that just to get that sideline practice, working with your players, your assistants, and kind of set all that out with your assistant coaches, their responsibilities during games. It's a rehearsal. It's a dry run for you.
Well, normally when the coaches turn it over to an assistant, it's because the guy that's turning it over has got experience.
Yeah.
But in this case, JJ has none.
Right, exactly. And then it says hire at least 1 and maybe 2 former NBA head coaches, and you will trust as sounding boards that you will trust as sounding boards. In other words, guys that'll give you the truth. They'll tell you the truth. Hey, you got to do this instead of this. We can't practice 3 days out of 4. You know, we got to give guys days off because a lot of first-time coaches, they want to practice all the time, and you got to get them to tone it down a little bit. Have your video coordinator put together a special situations video on everything, even the crazy stuff that happens in a season.
Wow.
That's a real good idea, too. And then he said, the other one that I liked, and I mentioned it to you earlier, all of these pressure situations that occur during games, you got to sit down with your assistants and make all those decisions in the offseason. If we're up by 3, are we going to foul or not? You got to know that. That has to be something that's just a team policy. It's just something that you know what you're going to do. This is another one that I thought was interesting. When you put together your schemes before training camp, go out on the court with ex-players to idiot-proof the stuff you think will work. Great idea. Get some ex-players out there, run them through some things, and just make sure, number 1, that you can teach it. Number 2, you know how to teach it. Number 3, is it going to work? You don't want to be embarrassed on the second day of practice, come out with some scheme, and the players are all standing around. This ain't going to work. Try it on former players. They're around. You can get them. Ex-Lakers grow on trees down there in L.A. They still make money off being a Laker for the rest of their career by hanging out in L.A.
Yeah, make Kurt Rambis get out there and do something.
Absolutely. And his wife. If she's going to be calling the shots in the front office, get her out there too.
Yeah. Hey, idiots, can you get out there? They're so busy yapping in Jeannie's ear that they can't.
Yeah.
And maybe you should take them away and have them do something. I like that idea. You were also talking about that it's important for, once he gets his staff hired, that between now and the start of the season, that group needs to be tight. What do you mean by that?
Well, they need to vet those guys and make sure they're all on the same page. They all not only have to know what you want to do, they better believe in it. You either better convince them that this is the right thing to do or get rid of them before the season even starts. I'm just telling you, get rid of all those internal arguments and because people are going to question what you want to do. It's just the way it is. Plus, he's a different kind of coach. He's an analytics-based guy. So if you got some old-timers on there, you're going to have to bring them around to your side because players talk to those guys. You don't want an assistant undermining what you're doing. You got to make sure everybody is teaching the same and thinking the same.
How do you think LeBron, let's say the Lakers do end up selecting Bronny James, which everyone expects to happen.
Right.
If it's clear through practice that Bronny is not ready to play this upcoming season in the NBA, do you think Bronny would pressure to get him in games and get him X number of minutes per game if he's not ready and it clearly shows up in practice?
I think he's a dad. He might do that. I think if he shows he can't play at that level, he should go to the G League and take LeBron out of the whole equation. Send him to your G League team and let him play down there and get plenty of playing time. He's not going to get a lot of playing time with the Lakers.
Well, we talked to Haynes about that too. We've talked to a couple of people. It's not really about if he gets drafted, they don't care if he goes down to the G League. Right. He's not going to not do that. I think they just want to get him drafted so that he can get some guaranteed money coming his way.
Yeah, they don't want a two-way contract on him. They want
They want legitimate contract where he can get locked up for 3 years or whatever the number may be.
Yeah.
No two-way contract. And then if you want to send him to the G League, that's fine. I just think that LeBron, and look, it's easy for me to rip on LeBron because it comes naturally for me. I just don't believe that LeBron, if it clearly shows in practice that Bronny is just not ready, which is going to be quite possible, I don't think Bron is going to force his son into games. So then the Lakers can send him down to the G League and have him develop. And the reason why you can't do that is because the best way to lose a locker room or the respect of the people around you is to have a guy taking up minutes. This is how it could go sideways for everyone, including JJ. Have a guy taking up minutes from a more deserving player, from a player who clearly shows he's not ready, especially one that's a rookie and the son of LeBron. That's not going to go well.
Yeah, but he's the king.
I know. And I know that you don't like LeBron either, but I just don't think he's going to do that. He's not going to force Bronny to play or force Redick to put Bronny into games if it clearly shows that he has no business being on the floor. That's just That doesn't work that way. And you've been around basketball
Yeah,
long
but
enough.
parents, I from dealing with, they always see things in their kids that nobody else sees. All they need is just a little more time to show it. They're not getting enough time to show you what they can really do.
No, but LeBron he knows basketball well enough to know if his son can be out there on the floor or not.
Yeah. He's the guy that said he could be playing regularly. He's better than half the guys in the NBA.
I know, but that was just, talk.
Okay.
It's just him spouting off on social media.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to do that. So I don't know how. I mean, my biggest concern is not Bronny. I think that will work his situation out. They'll draft him and stuff. But the biggest concern would be how Redick deals with the rest of the guys on the roster who are going to be playing, not named LeBron or AD. How they're going to view him, how he works with them, how he communicates with them.
Well, I'd also like to know, is he going to ask LeBron to do some things that he hasn't really been doing for a few years? Like hurry back on defense, stay connected defensively, give the ball up a little more than he has. Those things are important if you're going to build a team culture.
How does he go about doing that? I mean, I'm being serious right now.
Yeah, that's some one-on-one conversations there.
Yeah, that's where you have to go to LeBron and be like, look, but how do you do that? Do you put together a plan with your staff on what you need or what you think you need to be the most successful and then present it to LeBron?
Yeah.
Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah. Well, I think you also approach it this is the way you guys have been playing for the last 2 or 3 years. How's it working for you? I believe, my belief, Chat, they haven't had a great roster, but I do think they've underperformed their talent level. To have two really good players like LeBron and AD, and then have other players, role players who are not bad. They're not without talent. They should have won more games than they did, and I think it's partly because of the way they play.
Well, I think the biggest problem is the games missed by AD and LeBron throughout the regular season. So how do you manage that? Because when you take the problem with the roster, like you mentioned, it's not a good roster. Well, when you take LeBron or AD off that, and then you're left with,
Yeah, but last year, their record without him was just as good as it was with him. I mean, they played better because those players got the ball more. They had more touches. They felt more comfortable.
I know, but if you take LeBron or AD off the floor and Austin Reeves is your second best player, that's not a good roster. It's really not.
They had a pretty good year last year with those guys playing, though. AD played a lot.
Well, AD was terrific last year.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get the same production from AD this year that you did last year.
I know, but my point was, with him playing that much, LeBron was playing a lot. I don't think that was a good enough year for what they had. I think they should have been better last year.
I don't. I just don't.
I
think
don't
the
think they
roster's
should have
very
been
good.
a playoff team, but they should have been better than they were. That's why they're changing coaches.
Is that why they're changing coaches?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard as to why they're getting rid of Ham.
Well, why do you think they are? That he did a great coach. He got everything out of them that he should have. I don't think he did. I don't think the players thought that either. I don't think LeBron thought that.
Okay, well, what is the new coach, or what should have Ham gotten out of them? What, 50 wins?
No, I said I don't think they were a playoff team. They should have won more games than they did. They should have been 7th or 8th in the conference. And I think that's the expectation this year for pretty much the same team is going to be you got to make the playoffs. That's going to be the expectation.
Oh, I just don't know if the roster is good enough to do that in the Western Conference.
I don't either. But that's the expectation. We'll see. They're a better team than what they showed last year. I believe that.
Oh, I don't believe that at all. No, I don't.
Really?
I think they're pathetic. Yeah,
Wow.
they're a weak
They're
roster.
not pathetic. There's some pathetic teams in the league.
No,
but they're not
the only
pathetic.
reason why they're reasonable is because they have LeBron and AD. But the rest of the roster is garbage. And they don't have guys who can shoot on a consistent basis. I like Austin Reeves, but he's a role player. Yeah.
I think Austin Reeves is a little better than that. He's certainly being paid better than a role player.
Well, when you take LeBron or AD off, if Austin Reeves is your second best player on the team, which he is in those cases, that's not a very good team. He's a role player. He's not someone you want on the floor for 38 minutes a night. Yeah. I mean, would he start on Oklahoma City? Would he start for Boston?
There's a lot of teams he would start for.
Not the best teams in the NBA. Wouldn't start for Minnesota. I mean, Austin Reeves is – look, I love Austin Reeves. He's an Oklahoma guy. I'm just saying he's not great. He's just okay.
Better than the role players that the Warriors had.
I'm just saying I think you're overestimating the Lakers. They're just not a good team, and they're not going to compete next year either. I don't care what coach you put in there. Put in J.J. Redick. They're going to be the same team next year battling for a play-in. Just take a look at the Western Conference and tell me Who
They'll
they're going
win
to win?
more games next year than they won this year.
How many games they win this year, Godfather? I feel a bet coming on right now. Okay, let's make a bet right now.
All right.
El Gaucho,
All right.
I bet that the Lakers do not win more games this upcoming season than they do last year.
How many did they win last year?
Well, I'm looking it up right now. I asked
Well,
you and you
hurry
didn't
up.
tell me anything.
Hurry up.
Gosh, I can't believe all of a sudden you're like, oh, the Lakers are a good roster. That's a pretty good team. They should have won more
say
games.
That. I
Yeah,
said
you
they're
did
not
say
a
that.
pathetic team like you said. They're not pathetic.
They won 47 games last year.
Well, that's pretty good.
They should have won more than 47.
Yeah.
Okay. So under 47, I win. Over 47, you win. El Gaucho.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
this
do
is
that.
easy money. Okay. I'll make the reservations now.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I've heard that from you before.
Yeah. And I pay up. You know that.
Yeah.
That's easy money for me this time. 47. All right. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio up next. Well, it's been a number of weeks since I've talked to this guy here. He is a great friend of the show. He is my brother from another mother. He's with Fox Sports Radio, and now he's back on the Rip City Drive. It's Brian No. Bino, what's up, brother?
Man, Chad Doing, it is so great to hear your voice. And you know what? Little fun fact for you.
Yes.
Because shout out to my guy, Shaq Diesel, who's playing the music right there. And he went Sepultura on you with the little Slave New World. Your fun fact of the evening, I have 3 Tribal S Sepultura tattoos on my right arm. That is, I don't know if that's a fun fact or not, but that is your fact of the evening.
The question, Brian, is why?
Did Shaq Diesel ask why? Is that what happened right there, Chad?
No, I wanted to know why it's Dwight.
I can't hear him very well. I can't hear Shaq Diesel if he's talking to me.
No, Shaq is not talking to you. That was the Godfather. But I knew you had ink, and I'm just glad that I just didn't know what it is, but I do now, and that's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And shout out to the Godfather, right? Dwight's got ink. Didn't we find that out last time?
Yeah, we
I do.
did. He has it's a K-Pam tattoo. Did you get talked into that by a listener? How'd that come to be?
No, I made a deal. Yeah, a listener talked about it. I said I'd do it for money, and I got paid $500 for putting a quarter-size tattoo on my upper arm that no one ever sees.
You know, that's not a bad investment right there. I want to know what you spent that money on, though, Dwight.
I took my son on a baseball weekend down in San Francisco to watch the Giants and the Braves.
There you go.
Yeah,
Money well spent.
that's what I thought.
I think you should get the ND logo, Notre Dame logo, put on your shoulder.
By the way, gambling Chad would love this story. This is a true story. And I like that idea, by the way, Chad. I'm not just brushing that off. By the way, Lofa Tatupu from USC, he owes me a Notre Dame tattoo. He lost a bet to me, and he still has to pay up. He said he was going to put it on his heel, like so he would be stepping on the bottom of his foot. But I went to a San Francisco Giants game years ago, and there was this random guy behind me talking to his friend, and he goes, I'm sorry if I've told this story before, but he goes, oh, yeah, I'm a huge gambler. Love betting on the NBA. Very successful, yada, yada, yada. And he goes, yeah, I'm on Boveda. And I almost stood up and said, what kind of gambler are you? You can't even pronounce it right. I don't know how I just sat there and said nothing, but it was hilarious.
Boveda. That's so
Boveda.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a big-time gambler, liar.
Yeah.
And dude, I can always tell when anytime someone starts to tell me how much they're winning in their bets, like they only tell me about the wins and I know they're losing their ass.
Yeah, look, man, it's you know as well as I do, Chad, even the professionals, they're just trying to get to 57%.
Yeah.
Those are the pros.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if they're only talking about the wins, you know they're losing.
They're just getting their clock cleaned, man. You know what's happening. All right, let's start with this. What's your take on the Lakers hiring J.J. Redick as their next head coach?
Well, you know, I don't think about the Lakers as much as I do the ABC/ESPN telecast. You know, I missed Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson so much.
You're not the
during
only
finals.
one. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And look, man, J.J. Redick, he knows his stuff. I love Doris Burke, but something about the three of them together, they were so unbelievably serious the whole time. It's like, can someone just crack a joke at some point, please? So my first thought was we got J.J. Redick out of the booth. I'm good with that. And as far as the Lakers go, I mean, we'll see. He certainly knows the game. There's more to it than just that, obviously. But some of these first-time head coaches who had success, Ime Udoka had success with the Celtics before he screwed up and was out of a job. And the list goes on with the first-time head coaches. Maybe he'll have success, but it was a weird path to get to J.J. Redickville with the flirtations with Dan Hurley. But, hey, here we are.
I want to know, Brian, would you draft Bronny for LeBron? Or would you draft Bronny if you're picking ahead of the Lakers somewhere in the second round?
Yeah. Well, if you're the Lakers and he's there on the board, how do you take the shooting guard from Europe? You know what I mean? Like, if he's there and we're talking the second round, I think the Lakers have to go down that road. And look, man, if you're another team in that area and you think that Bronny's got ability and can be something in the league, then yeah, take him. If you think that he can be a piece down the road, I would absolutely take him. So it's really in the eye of the beholder if those other teams in the Lakers, cul-de-sac, if you will, in their neighborhood draft-wise, if they see anything from Bronny, if they do, take a swing.
Well, what Dwight and I think is probably happening behind the scenes is that Clutch has let every other team know, don't draft Bronny, and if you do, you're going to have a hard time working with us in the future. But what we think the Clippers should do with Steve Ballmer, because he's kind of crazy, take Bronny and draft him and then try to convince LeBron, who's going to opt out when free agency hits, to come over and join the Clippers. And it would be a very simple sell. Look, come over to the Clippers. You don't have to move. You can stay in your same place. You can be in L.A. You can team up with Bronny. And we've got a team right now that can compete for a championship, because the team you're on right now with the Lakers is going to come nowhere near to stiffing one. Why not do it if you're Steve Ballmer? Because he's just crazy enough to try something like that.
Yeah, hey, I hear you on that approach. We'll see what crazy Steve Ballmer does do, right? I think, I can't remember, was it Paul George? You guys would know better than I would, but was it Paul George or some NBA player was comparing Bronny to Drew Holiday? That was within the last week or two.
Yeah, it was Paul George, I think.
It was Paul George.
That's a bad comparison.
Drew Holiday is such a good player, man. He is a really, really good player. That's a high bar. I'll put it this way, if Bronny ever reaches that level where Drew Holiday is, he's a success, man. He is a raging success if he ever gets there.
For sure.
That's a lot of disrespect for Drew Holiday. It's a great compliment for Bronny, but a lot of disrespect for Drew Holiday, who's a two-time champion and just a dog.
Yeah, I know. And a two-way player, great two-way player. And he's refreshing, too. He is the opposite of a me guy, where he's like, yeah, cool, I'm with the Celtics now. I'll do the dirty work. I'll rebound. I'll play great defense. I don't need to score. It's cool. Like, there are a lot of players that are as good as Drew Holiday that don't have that approach at all. So hats off to that guy for sure, man.
What about the Celtics title run, Brian? Did you like that? Did you like watching them play? I certainly did, I'll tell you that. But what did you think of all that?
Well, I thought two things, Dwight. I think that, one, I was like Flavor Flav,
Oh, yeah, we've always thought you were like Flavor Flav.
I was the Celtics hype man, Dwight. I'm telling you, all these people are like, they weren't as impressive as we thought they should have been. Look who they played in the Eastern Conference playoffs, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, look, man, it's not all about the drawbacks. It's about the strengths. And they have a lot of strengths. And heading into the series against Dallas, it was Dallas, 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 Dallas. Everybody's like, the Mavs, the Mavs, the Mavs. I'm like, okay, all right. Boston is going to be a really, really tough opponent. And they smacked them around pretty good. But the other part of your question, Dwight, watching them offensively, they drive me crazy. Because, and this is going to sound like old, stale, outlook on the NBA, and I don't mean it to be that way. I just think they could be so much better offensively, where they get way too ISO heavy and they're not moving the ball. They're dribbling it into the ground, and it's like, all right, 7 seconds left in the shot clock. Tatum, just do what you do and create a shot. And there are so many times where that's their offensive set. It's so weird. So I give them credit. They were a worthy champion, but their offense at times, it just bogs down and they get completely stuck in the mud. They're just a really, really weird offense to watch night to night.
We're talking with Brian No, Fox Sports Radio. I don't know if you saw, did you have a chance to see any of Tom Brady on Fox over the weekend covering the UFL championship?
I saw a couple of cuts where, of course, they boo him when he's giving away the trophy.
Welcome to broadcasting, Tom.
Yep, that's the way it goes right there. But Chad, you and I think that Tom Brady's going to be a success. Yeah. He's been a success at everything. And he's highly competitive. He's getting a ton of money. And the last thing he wants to do is be a joke. He doesn't want to be the laughing stock. So I think he's going to work really hard. And I think he's going to find a way to be successful. He knows too much to not be successful. And if he doesn't study from the J.J. Redick School of Broadcasting and is just unnecessarily serious all the freaking time, I think he's going to be successful.
That's right. Get someone on there that can crack a joke occasionally.
Man.
And have some fun. But you're right about him caring. I heard an interview with him the other day, and he doesn't want to let down his team, the production crew, his partners on air. Like, you know, and he's going to take the approach he did in football, where he's going to learn to study and focus on the things that he knows he'll be able to contribute to the broadcast instead of studying on things or focusing on things that take away too much time that he knows he's not going to get to. So it seems like his mind is right, and he's practicing and putting the time into it. So I think you're right. With his approach, he just doesn't want to be a failure, man. He wants to dominate, and I respect that.
I'm with you, man. And I was just thinking, you know, if you compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan, right, who most people think are the GOATs in their respective sports, I don't know why Tom Brady has been so criticized throughout the years. The guy has more Super Bowl rings than every other NFL franchise. Like, it's insane. But I bring this up because when he gets in the broadcasting booth, you know as well as I do, they're going to pick apart every little tiny mistake, especially early on, and they're going to want a finished product from the get-go. And I just stop and think to myself, one, Jordan was never criticized half as much as Tom Brady was through his playing days. And what if Michael Jordan got into the broadcasting booth, even now? Like, Jordan could be making mistake after mistake. No one would care. They'd be like, whatever, it's Jordan, it's fine. Like, it's not going to be that way with Tom Brady. It's just so interesting how those two are viewed completely differently.
Yeah, I think it's jealousy partly, and then, you know, the Patriots were cheaters with Belichick and Brady, so I think that's part of it too. That's why people don't like the guy.
Yeah, that's part of it, but, man, I still go back to if you somehow found out the Bulls were cheating, if there was Deflategate and Spygate, if Phil Jackson was the mastermind behind Spygate, no one would have crushed Michael Jordan about that at all.
I would have justified it. I would have justified everything. But
Right.
dude, it's Mike, man. Get off Mike.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Brian, who's going to have a better record this year, the Jets or the Chargers?
I'm Team Jets on that one, Dwight.
Whoa.
No.
I am.
Wow.
I think the Bills have taken a step back. Of course, they're going to have a tough test on their hand with the Dolphins twice a year. We all know that, right? But I do like the Jets. It's weird to me, Dwight, because going into last season, the Jets were a really trendy pick. A lot of people thought very highly of the Jets. Aaron Rodgers played 4 plays, and now it's like a lot of people just jumped right off that bandwagon. And I'm thinking to myself, why? You still have Aaron Rodgers. He's back from his injury. It's not like he was Lamar Jackson out there relying on sheer athleticism, you know, and you have real question marks about the Achilles injury. That was just a minor part of his game where he can move around and he was mobile, but he was never electric. And so you have Aaron Rodgers with a real defense, and he's surrounded by some good playmakers. So I think that the Jets could have a really good season. I've got them as a double-digit win playoff team. I think that Harbaugh is going to have success, but I don't know if it's year one. And so I'm expecting more from the Jets than I am the Chargers this season. If I had to bet, I would bet on gangrene, baby.
All I can say to that is, you know how wide the Grand Canyon is?
Yeah.
That's the gap between the coaching staffs of those two teams.
I don't hate it. I mean, look at Robert Saleh, who's a great defensive coordinator with the 49ers, but as a head coach, hasn't been great.
No.
And it was clumsy the way he handled the fiasco with Aaron Rodgers missing minicamp. It's like, why would you come out and say, it was unexcused? It's like, bro, you're in New York.
Gosh, what an idiot.
It's the Mecca. Why would you make something? Any little thing you do is going to be blown up and magnified. And when you say Aaron Rodgers, who's been a diva and has been high maintenance his whole career, you say it was unexcused, it's going to lead to drama and questions. And why would you want any of that? He completely mishandled that.
Yeah.
All right, no. Final question for you. What do you think the Cowboys, how should they approach the Dak situation with this pending contract extension?
I would wait. I don't see the benefit. I think that if you were going to extend him, you should have done it earlier this offseason, and you would have had some cap relief and might have been able to make some moves and take advantage of that, but it's far too late to do that now. And it's like, okay, you might get a discount a little bit if you extend Dak now because the money's just going to get bigger and bigger. But to me, you're in this place right now where you haven't committed, and there's a reason why. So if you've got the franchise tag to use, I would just let him play this final year out. And if he goes crazy and goes Joe Flacco, right, like when he was on the last year of his deal and won a Super Bowl, it's going to cost you a little bit more, but you would have that maneuverability where if you wanted to pivot and go a different direction, you could. Dak put up numbers. I like Dak as a quarterback. I just don't love the idea of backing up the Brinks truck for him. And they've dragged their heels this long for a reason. So it doesn't make sense to just do it halfway. I don't understand why you would extend him now when you could have done that earlier in the offseason and use that cap relief to your benefit. So I would just keep going down this road and don't extend him until next season. If it costs you a little bit more, so be it.
All right, superstar. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio. It's just good to hear your voice, man. I missed you. And so did Shacker and Godfather.
I miss you guys, too. And Shaq Diesel, he sent me a screenshot with the 49ers background right there.
Yeah,
What's
he's
going
screwing
on with
me
that?
because he's a big 49er fan. So he put up this it's a sweatshirt that he had when he was younger of the 89 team that destroyed the Broncos 55-10, which remains the biggest defeat in a Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he taunts me all the time.
Is that worse than if it said, like, Purdy with a number 13 on there, you know? It's got to be worse what he has up there right now.
Oh,
right?
my goodness. Well, get ready for Purdy Palooza. It's right around the corner, and you know what's coming, No.
It is, absolutely.
Well, he's got Super Bowl experience now. He's going to get over the hump.
That's right. Look out. 59 touchdown passes this year for the sensation. But, hey, man, thanks for having me on. Always love hanging with you guys.
We love
Shout
you.
out to the Godfather. Shout out to Chad Doing and Shaq Diesel as always, man. You guys have a great evening.
Be No. All right, Brian No, Fox Sports Radio. When we come back, we're going to head to Everett. And Rich Burke, voice of the Hops, going to check in here on the Rip City Drive.